Okay. So I'm gonna get everything set up and we are going to wait for all of our participants tonight to start joining. I guess I'll just get this set here. So in the meantime, you can watch me get my space set up. Hey, Larissa. Okay. Hey, Larissa. Then I message your mom and just let her know.
Oh, is that what we're making? Oh my goodness, it's gonna be hard.
True. Hey, Lacey.
Hi.
Hey, Catherine.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, I'm excited.
Good. It's going to be fun. We're just going to hang out for a little while until everyone can join. So,
Good. Okay.
Did you still have a couple that didn't pick up, April? Or
I have two, you can see me. I have two kits here still. So I made one extra and then I just have the two.
okay, so we still have to see. We'll have to figure out. We'll have to see who all gets on and figure out which two.
Yeah, for sure. Like I mentioned before in my text about one mama, so it might be that she may not join just because she has done this before. So maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
She had RSVP. She RSVP'd, yes. So I don't know.
Okay, well, it's all good. Yeah, it is all good. They're put together in case there are any moms that couldn't make it tonight but want the recording. So I'll have them. We'll just hang out and see who joins.
I guess I'm trying to figure out the best way to position my computer.
Take your time. You got time.
And we may have a few that jump in just to chat, like just to hang out. So
Sure. Hey, that sounds good.
Danielle coming in.
Hey, Danielle.
Hey, girl. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Oh, okay, good.
I can't see you. I can hear you.
Oh, huh. Hold on a second. Let me figure out why.
Okay.
I have to go to gallery.
I mean, maybe you already know, but your bottom left-hand corner of your screen, if you put your arrow down there, it has a little video button. It might be turned off. It might, I don't know. You can see.
Oh, there we
Hi,
go.
there you are.
Hello. Yay.
So,
Is that your new headphones?
No, I had these, but I've just never used them on Zoom. So I see what you mean about you don't know how loud to talk. It's so weird.
your volume is just fine over here. So,
Okay, good. So what's everybody been up to today?
Grocery shopping.
Grocery?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not very exciting.
Did you do pickup or did you go to Brookshire?
Oh, we do pick up. I can't go in there with the kiddos. They'll lick everything.
Yeah.
How do you feel, Catherine?
Actually, I was feeling good until about 2 days ago, and I have this random bout of nausea now, which I've never experienced with either pregnancy. So I'm out of my element.
I liked ginger everything. Ginger tea, ginger ale, ginger candy.
All ginger stuff.
No.
I think I have some ginger oil somewhere. I'll start with that and maybe buy some ginger ale. Ginger tea. Excuse me, my favorite.
So Catherine, I'm taking that you're pregnant. Is
Oh,
that what
yes. Yes.
How far along?
9 weeks.
Oh, congratulations.
your announcement was
And
really cute.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What do you have already? What are your kids now?
I have a 4-year-old little boy and a 2-year-old girl.
Okay. Yay, that's exciting.
So one of each. So as long as this one comes out healthy, we don't really care.
Right. Are you gonna find out or are you gonna be a surprise?
Oh yes, I'm too type A to not find out as early as
Yeah.
possible so I can
Yeah.
organize and get things ready.
Gotcha. Yeah.
What, baby?
So April, are y'all gonna try and do some of that stuff on the square this summer again, like y'all did last summer, you think, or no? Because what's going on?
The stuff on the square, like,
Oh, maybe that wasn't summer. Didn't y'all like where you like gather on the hill and have some music? Was that not summer? Maybe.
yeah,
You want me to say what I can make?
humble night. Is that what you mean over at the office?
Yes.
Yes, we're going to do
this
it the second Saturday of July.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
We're actually working on the flyers right now, just solidifying everything.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah. It's fun.
Want to be on video. Huh? Well, if they come, we can turn it on.
So Lacey I'm good whenever you want me to start. If you want to wait and just hang out a few more minutes, whatever you
There's
want.
like 5 people doing this.
Yeah, it's 5 so far. But at least 10 picked up kits, so right? Or 9, 10 picked up kits, I think. Maybe there were 11. So,
Either 10 or 11. No, I think 11. If you have
11
2,
picked up. That's right. Yes, ma'am.
one of those is the one that wanted the recording.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kim Heiss is gonna do the recording.
Oh,
I
she
don't
is.
know if that's, yeah.
Was it Hannah that was doing the other recording?
And,
Okay.
Danielle, was Kim, you know if Kim got her packet already?
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
she got it.
I remember her name.
Yeah, she told me she got it. But I think for some reason she thought it was last night. Like the painting instead of tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna start texting people.
Okay.
So is Larissa on there? I see her thing, but no picture.
Oh, let's see.
I think she's here.
I guess I'm okay.
Elliot said she's hung up at work.
I don't know. Hold on, Addie. Careful, that's glass. Yeah, be careful, that's glass.
Hey, look at Ida. Look at flower.
Let's see.
Does anybody have Carissa or Katie Outland?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Larissa, yeah, we can hear you for sure. We just can't see you.
Okay. I'm probably not going to put video on because my daughter's out here too. So,
Okay, sure.
and she's currently only in her shorts. So, no shirt.
Hi.
Totally understand.
Hi.
We cannot keep clothes on our boys, especially if we're outside.
Yes.
I like pink and purple.
You like pink and purple? Those are awesome colors.
Hey, it's too hot today, huh?
It's really hot.
You can see.
Yeah, it's hot.
Katie Outland or Carissa Hot?
Hi.
No, they can't see us. I didn't put the video on just because.
Or Lauren?
What are you asking about?
So mine says like record in the top right for some reason.
That's probably because I don't know if you can record these, but I'm recording it so that other moms
okay.
can't be here tonight. We'll send it to them.
That's right. Okay, maybe that's why.
That might be why.
Yeah, okay. Because I've not noticed that before.
Yep.
I was like, oh, I hope I'm not recording myself.
I am. I'm recording it. Yeah.
So Elliot got hung up at work.
Okay.
So I guess we should probably just start.
Okay. And then if anybody wants to just join, they're more than welcome to. And that way we have the recording and we can just send it out. I'll send it to you and you can send it to whoever, or I can send it. I don't care. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, you guys. Well, this will take a little while. We'll get set up anyway. And, you know, maybe as we're getting set up, maybe some other mamas will join. Okay. So in your kit, you guys, you should all have, let's see, we should have 4 brushes for this painting tonight. You should have a really large brush. This is going to be our background brush. And then you should have 3 other brushes. Then you're going to need a cup of water. I just use a jar of water. And then you're going to need a paper and I just use a paper towel like this and I just fold it over. Okay, so that's all you're gonna need. And then if you want, you can go ahead and you can get your paint cups out. And you don't need to put the black on your palette, but you should have a plate. And this is how I kind of put my colors out. You don't need to dump out or scoop out like with a plastic spoon or something. You don't need to put all of the paint out. Just put like maybe 50% out, if that. And then that way, if you guys decide that you have to go in the middle of class, you still have paint left over, or if, you know, you need extra colors for mixing later, you just have it, okay? But don't take your black out because we're gonna leave it in its cup. We're only gonna use the black for the back. So there's no need to put that on your palette. So I like to set my my palette up kind of like a color wheel. So I do the white, and then I have red, yellow, green, and blue. So you guys, question. Normally in my classes, I go ahead and just mute everybody. Do you want me to do that, or do you guys want to stay unmuted since you all are friends and you know each other? I can do whatever you want. I don't care at all. Like, are you able to hear me okay? Is it?
Yeah.
No? Yeah? Okay, cool. Okay. If at any time you guys can't hear me and you want me to mute everybody, just let me know and I'll just do that. But I'll just keep you unmuted since we can just hang out and talk. Anyway, though, so this is what my palette looks like. So go ahead and just get your palette kind of set up like this so that you have your colors. I like it when, you know, my warmer colors are next to each other and my cooler colors are next to each other because we're going to be mixing colors tonight. I included purple in everybody's kit because, you know, if you want to look at this painting, there is no purple in it at all, but I know some of you like purple. So I thought, you know, if you wanted to incorporate some purple flowers, you could. And this purple is really great. If you want to use it, you can, you know, mix a little white with it and you get a really beautiful lavender, or you can mix a little bit of red with it and you can get some really beautiful hues. And then on the other spectrum, you can mix blue with it. You can get some really beautiful, like periwinkle blues and some other softer purples. So if you didn't want to go with pink and red, then you would have the purple. So at any time, you know, I'm going to be teaching you literally, you know, paint stroke by paint stroke and what colors I'm going to be using, but feel free to mix any colors you want, you know, make the painting your own and do your own thing with it. And if you need help mixing a certain color, just let me know. Show me your palette and I can tell you kind of add a little yellow or add a little whatever it is that you need to do. So anyway, go ahead and get your palette set up. And I like to set my paint station up kind of like this. So I have my canvas in front of me, and then I have brushes kind of sitting on the paper towel, and then my water is right here. And then I have my palette right next to me. So I'm right-handed. So I like to just have everything kind of out to my right side. Okay, that's how you're going to be.
Well, purple's from here. We'll put purple in there in just a minute.
You make blue and purple just like me. Purple and blue, so I can make pink.
You've got an artist there with you, Larissa.
Yes, she wants to paint. I probably should get her a piece of paper.
Yeah, I will tell you, the paint isn't super washable, so just, you know, be careful.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. My kids always want to paint with me, always, well, especially when we're at the shop, so I understand that battle.
Yeah,
if that means anything. So what, Lacey? Yeah. Okay, so it looks like you guys are pretty set up. So just a quick thing, I guess let's go ahead and we'll just start our backgrounds, and then I'll kind of, as we're doing that, I'll tell you guys a little bit about this paint and how to use it. Some of y'all have painted with me before, so you know the drill. But we're gonna start with our largest brush, okay? And we're gonna go right into our black paint. So you can open the lid and go ahead and scoop a little bit out like so. And we're gonna paint our backgrounds. And so the cool thing about this is it's just gonna be black. So you can paint it this way, this way, this way. It really doesn't matter. You just get that black paint and just paint it on there, okay? Your goal is just to cover your whole canvas. And to be honest, you know, you really wanna do this part kind of quickly. This is our background. It is the least of our worries tonight. We have a ton of other really way more interesting things to do. So just take your paint, smear it on. Don't think too much about it. One thing I am going to tell you is I want you to go ahead and paint your edges. So like these right here, the side, the top, the bottom, all the edges, okay? That's going to be really nice craftsmanship. And when you're done with this piece, you can just go ahead and hang it right up on the wall. You don't even need to get a frame or anything like that. So I'm painting on a canvas board tonight, so it's really nice and thin. I'm not painting on a wrapped canvas, just mostly to save the canvases for. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and cover this. The other thing I'm going to suggest, you guys, is try to avoid painting with big gobs of paint. Okay, a little bit of paint, you'll kind of see as you get going. It really goes a long way, and you can really smear it out really nice. So go ahead and just use your brush, nice brush strokes like this, like up and down. Okay, really smear that paint out. That's going to do two things for us. One, that's just going to make a really nice solid background, but it's also going to allow the paint to dry really quickly. And that's what we want with our background especially. We want our background to dry quickly. That way we can just go ahead and get started and get all those beautiful flowers on here. So you can see my background is completely covered. I'm just gonna take my brush without adding any more paint to it, and I'm just gonna take it and I'm just gonna sweep it across the surface of the canvas, doing nice long brush strokes. And what this is gonna do is actually speed up the process of drying. It's gonna pick up any sections that have kind of gobs or just any gunky parts or anything like that, and just kind of get it dry for you. Okay, so I'll give you guys a minute to kind of get those going. When you're done, drop this brush in your water and just forget about it. We're not going to use it again for the rest of the night. So, and you're done with your black too. So you can put your lid back on your black and save that for another day. I'm gonna go flip the close sign on the shop so nobody interrupts us, and I'll be right back.
Got me real goofy, y'all. Right after she said, "Don't make it goofy," I made it goofy.
How are those backgrounds coming, you guys? Good. They're looking good.
April, I don't think I've ever seen you non-bubbly and cheery.
Oh,
I like that about you. I like that about you.
That's really sweet of you. I appreciate you seeing that. You know, sometimes it's like, you know, having the shop, and it feels like we're constantly, you know, posting things up about our family and, you know, doing these Zoom videos, and it's like a personality that you almost have to keep up with. And because, you know, with the business, it's like you're selling yourself,
Right.
and it's just like a thing. So sometimes like Taylor and I, we get home at night and we just like hop into bed with like a bag of Cheetos and just for zombies, like, oh. So funny.
But you're like that at last year at MOPS too.
Thank you for saying that. That's sweet of you. Well, I think there's, you know, I don't know. Even when you're upset and, you know, going through trials and all of that, I think even if you just pretend to be happy sometimes and just, you know, you make it, it kind of lifts your spirits. You know, there's, of course, you should be honest and open with people, and you don't have to like always be super happy. You know, I think that's super hard to do, but you know, I don't know. Try to be.
Someone once told me, fake it till you feel it.
That's true. Yeah. Fake it till you feel it. Yeah. Yeah.
I think find something to put on.
Save the video to watch later about the picnic update and the smoothie bar update.
Say that again, Lacey.
I saw the video. I didn't watch the video, but I saved it.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny.
I need to know all these things.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes when we make these videos too, we're like, okay, we're gonna go live. Let's go live. Let's say something real quick. And we're like, what are we gonna say? And we just go, you know.
That's like
I haven't advertised it too much. I'm sorry, what happened?
No, I was just saying I don't really have anything to say to go live, but I never would go live because as soon as I hit record, I'd be like, hi.
Yeah, it can be really awkward sometimes. And like Taylor and I've learned that we're like, this is awkward. This is so hard to do. So we just embrace that awkwardness. We're like, we're just gonna be weird. Whatever, you know.
Go for it.
Whatever.
And sometimes it's better then you're not stressing about trying to remember what you really wanted to say.
Exactly. And then if you forget
how you wanted to say it,
like write up a post later, you know, and talk to everybody so much anyway. So but it's been a week.
Hey, is the smoothie bar, will you have can you juices, like fresh juice too?
That's gonna come later. So we're big juicers at home. But we thought to just start with the smoothies and just take baby steps. But we're love to do that for sure.
Yeah, I was telling my husband about it, and he was like, "I wonder if they're going to do the juices because he likes that." Back home, he worked downtown, and they would have the juice bars. He would do that a lot. So.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely want to do that. We do it at home. Taylor even tried to take our juicer to the shop, and I was like, "No, you can't do that. No." It just feels like that's like a whole nother undertaking.
Yeah,
you can get really, intricate. So. Anyway, how are y'all's backgrounds looking? If you take it and you kind of lean it into the light, you can see some areas that have a little bit of a sheen to it, and you can also just take your hand like I am very lightly and just kind of lay it across it. Now, if you might have little white specklies, from the texture of the canvas, that's totally okay if you do, because we're going to be covering this canvas in flowers and dots and all kinds of crazy things. And so it doesn't matter. You can do them later. It'll be totally fine. Maddie left the key there, so if you want to get it and put it on my key ring. So okay. All right, you guys. So your water might be black now. So just put your background brush in your water, and you don't have to worry about it again. So another thing real quick about this paint is, if you haven't ever painted with me before, this is acrylic paint, and it doesn't typically like to be mixed with water, at least this brand, and for the sake of this class. So I know the tendency is to take your brush, stick it in your water, and then stick it on your palette and start mixing your colors. Try not to do that. That way, two things will happen. This paint is relatively transparent, and the water will make it even more transparent, and it will also make it so that it takes even longer for the paint to dry. And this paint really works best if you just paint in thin layers that dry quickly. So you'll notice, especially painting on a black background, it's going to have this sort of chalkboardy kind of feel. You're going to see that black coming through your pinks and your yellows, and you can either embrace that and kind of make it more chalkboardy, or just wait for that layer to dry and then give it another coat of the pink or the yellow or the whatever it is. So So I know we have a lot of different personalities. Some people love the chalkboardiness. Some people can't stand it. They're always going to like look at these little spots that they want to fill in. So I think too, that's the beauty also of an online class too, is that, you know, I'm recording this. So if for some reason, you know, you just want to do your own thing, keep painting with us tonight, but you can always watch the recording later for anything that you've missed, and kind of go back. You can also just work on this all night. I mean, this is one of those paintings where you could just keep layering and layering and layering and changing and developing. So you can really just make it whatever you want. Okay, so with all that said, we're going to take a look at this, and I'm going to have everybody start with our largest flowers. So there's 4 large flowers. Bye, honey. There's 4 large flowers here, and if you're going to be mixing the same or painting with the same color palette as I am, then I'm going to show you how to mix that color first to start. So I'm using my largest brush. It's a size 7. So you should have 3 brushes. You have a 7, a 3, and like a 1 or a 0, okay? So this is gonna be our largest that we're using tonight. So I really love this like tropical pink color. It's like flamingo pink. And so the best way to mix that is if you have your red and your yellow next to each other, that's great. Grab a little bit of white, bring it right over to the middle. Now red is very powerful, okay? So I just take a little bit of red and I take like triple the amount of yellow. And I just start mixing right there, okay? And as you start mixing, you'll see this really pretty peachy color start to kind of come out. Okay, and I can see mine still kind of on the orangey side, so I'm gonna grab a little bit more red and mix it in. Now, y'all, I want you to mix colors that you like. If you like more pinky colors, then, you know, mix more red in there and have your flowers be more reds and pinks. But if you like the palette colors that I did, then you guys can copy me exactly. But mix colors that you like. There's no sense in painting with colors that you don't like. So okay, so I've got a good amount of paint there. The other thing is go ahead and just mix a lot of this color. Don't be afraid to really use up this space here. We're gonna be going back to this color a lot. In fact, I probably didn't even mix enough here, but this is a good start. So don't be afraid to mix a lot of color. I know sometimes, especially if you've never painted before, you wanna mix these tiny little sections, you know, but go ahead and just really use your palette, okay? Okay, so once we have that color, we're gonna start by looking at our canvas. And I'm gonna go ahead up into this corner here. I'm gonna bring you guys a little bit closer. I'm gonna start up in this corner here, okay? And I'm gonna give myself just a dot, just somewhere in this corner. And that's gonna kind of show me, okay, this is where the center of my first flower is going to be. From this section, I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna draw these sort of like triangular rounded petals. So I've got my first one. From this, I'm gonna go across. I like to go across because it kind of helps me see size. And then I'm gonna do my third and my fourth, okay? So then I kind of take a look back and I decide, okay, do I like that shape? Do I not like that shape? You know, whatever. And then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna fill it in. And I'm filling it in. You can see, if you look up close, try to show you guys, you can kind of see my, that chalkboardy feel, kind of what I was talking about, okay? So you can see that color, you can see that black coming through. And that's the other thing that kind of comes back to, you know, you want to let this dry if you don't like that black coming through, and then you can always paint another layer here. But right now, we're just kind of mapping things out. Okay, so I'm going to show you real quick. This is where we're at, and this is kind of where we're going. Okay, so you see the difference between the layers. Okay. The cool thing too about painting on a black background is that if you feel like you've made a mistake, it's very, very easy to fix it, because all you have to do is let that color dry completely, take black paint and paint right over it, and it's like it never happened. So don't feel pressure if you feel like you feel like anxiety because you're not making right marks or something like that. It is very, very fixable. And two, the busier this canvas gets, I think the more you're gonna like it. So don't judge yourself too hard yet, okay? Okay, we're gonna jump over to this corner here. And I'm not gonna be going directly next to it. I'm gonna kind of take my brush and come over and maybe down a little bit, okay? You want it to be off center. I'm just gonna give myself a little dot there. And what I'm gonna do with my brush, I've got a good chunk of paint on this brush. This brush makes beautiful petal shapes just by laying it on the canvas and pulling it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come out here, and I'm gonna press my brush down and I'm gonna pull it and kind of make this rounded shape, kind of like so. Let's bring you guys a little bit closer here for a second. I'm gonna do that out to the side, like so, to the bottom, and out to the side again. I've kind of just made like a map for myself, okay? I have something kind of like that. Once you have that, you're basically just gonna be filling in all the way around. So when you do it like this, it kind of helps you keep all of your petals the same length, because I have a hard time doing that. So I'm gonna go into the middle of these two. I'm gonna go into the middle of these two. The middle of those two. And the middle of those two. And then if you want to, you can go back around again. Maybe you like the way that flower looks and you can leave it, and that's totally fine. I'm gonna fill mine out a little bit more. And so I'm gonna come in again and go in between, and just really make it full. So I'm left with this sort of like fireworky kind of shape, okay? All right, you guys, so we're gonna move on. We're gonna do these last two down at the bottom here, okay? So down here in this corner, this flower is, it's kind of like a butterfly flower. It's really nice and fun. I'm gonna draw a little circle here. Now watch how I do it, and then you guys can do it. So the petals are all falling outward a little bit. So I'm gonna take my brush here. I'll show you this flower so you can see what we're talking about. It's this one in the corner here. Okay, that really big pink one that actually has the verse written on it. So this one, it kind of jumps out to the side. So I'm gonna take my brush and I'm gonna kind of jump out and do my petals on either side, like so. Kind of looks like a funky butterfly. I'm gonna do the one in the middle, like so. And then I'm gonna fill in these two gaps here, and I'm gonna go 1, 2. Okay, so I have something kind of like that. And then I'm just gonna fill it in. Okay. So you're gonna have kind of a blob, and that's totally okay. All right. We're gonna do our last large flower. This one is very similar to this one up here, except it's just kind of has less petals, I suppose. So once again, find a spot over here. I'm gonna do it, I guess kind of right in that area there, kind of closer to this one. I want all of my large flowers to be kind of off from each other, okay? I don't want them to be too lined up with each other. I'm gonna take my brush and I'm gonna let it make its petal shape just by taking it, laying it down and pulling it inward to that middle. I'm gonna go on either side here because it's also sort of lending it, it's kind of opening up the middle piece here. And I'm gonna just come around. Kind of like a firework flower. Okay, so you have something weird like that, like a weird spider flower. Okay, so I'll give you guys just a second to kind of catch up on those flowers. Sometimes I teach things a little bit quickly, and the reason behind that is I feel like sometimes when we're painting, our brain likes to tell our hands what to do, and sometimes that's not a good thing. Sometimes your hands just need to do what the instinctual thing is and just get that shape down, and the more you do it, the more you practice, the better you get at it. So anyway, if I'm teaching something kind of quickly, try to stay with me and trust that your hand is going to do what it needs to do. Don't let your brain think too much about and analyze. It's really analyzing. Your brain will be like, no, don't put it there. Oh, you're too far to the left. Oh, it's too big or too whatever. And it's going to be very, very critical. So if you can just start practicing to just let your hand just go for it, just jump right in. I think you'll find that paintings like this will go a lot more smoothly for you. You'll be a lot less anxious. But it does take time and practice, so let this be an opportunity to practice some of that stuff.
Can you show that last flower again?
Sure. It's this guy right here. So what I did is I'll show you the shape that I did. Our first layer is just that guy right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I got behind. I had to mix more paint. So.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's good to gauge. So go next time you have to mix that color, mix a lot of it because we're gonna go back to the color a lot.
Okay.
Yep. For sure. Okay. Let me see something real quick. And this painting, it just, you know, it has a lot of detail. It has a lot of little parts that make up the whole. But when you really break it down, these little parts are things like dots and check marks and circles. So I know a lot of it can kind of look a little bit intimidating, but it's not when you really break it down. When you guys are done with this part, we're actually just going to go ahead and plop this brush in the water for a moment. Okay. You know, Danielle, I was thinking back on the joy thing. I'm working on a Bible study through James right now, and the first, you know, opening section of it is count it all joy when you're going through trials and tribulations. And that's something that I've kind of just been thinking about like this past month especially, is because, you know, like I don't think he's actually saying like be joyful when bad things happen, you know, because we're human and we can't do that, right? But count it all joy because when trials and tribulations come, it calls you as a believer to lean on the Lord and to pursue him more. Therefore, count it all joy because amen, like yes, like bring me closer to you, whatever it takes, you know?
Right.
So I think that's a big theme in my life, you know. I try to remember that a lot. And so that's kind of on the forefront of my brain. So anyway, about joy.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
All right, so let's kind of start moving on here. We're gonna take our detail brush. This is your teeny tiny brush, okay? It's the smallest brush you have. We're gonna use it to map out the center of our painting, okay? So this is where you can decide what kind of shape you're gonna want here. If you want it to be an oval, if you want it to be a circle or a square or a tiny circle or a really big one, whatever it is. This is where you get to decide what you want that to be. Now, in my painting, I would say mine is roughly about the size of my paintbrush, give or take. So I don't know if you want to measure, like lay your small brush down and see, you know, how long that is. That's a really good size to fit this verse. If you're going to be writing this verse, you don't have to. I mean, of course, you can write whatever Bible verse you want, or you can write your initial or, you know, anything. Hang on just a second. I smeared some paint on here. All right. Got paint all over me already. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our white, and what you're gonna do is just take a little dot of white. So I have the tiniest bit on the tip of my detail brush, okay? Now I'm gonna come down, I don't know, maybe about 2 inches or so, right in this general area in the center. And I'm gonna give myself a dot there, just a little white dot. Then I'm gonna come down to the bottom here. And like I said, you can either measure with your brush if you want to, or just kind of come up another 2 inches, whatever, if you want to eyeball it, however you want to work. And give yourself another dot. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to go on either side here and give yourself dots. Now, something else you can do is you can take the end of your brush and you can put the end of it here, put your finger here, and you can see, okay, so that's the length of my dot that's away from the edge of the canvas. So I'm gonna take it now and go to the other side, and I'm gonna see if it's close. And if it's not, you can move it and adjust it to be where you need it to be. And you can do the same for the top and the bottom as well. So you need those 4 dots. Once you have those dots, go ahead and give yourself a couple other dots to kind of block out this area. We want to protect this area tonight. It's very easy to start painting these flowers and let them start crowding in, and pretty soon you're left with like nothing in the middle. So go ahead and I'm going to take some dots here. I'm just going to put them here just so I see, okay, this is going to be the area where my words are going to be. And that's not a perfect circle at all, or oval, that's just there, okay? And that's gonna change a little bit later. So don't get too hung up on that, okay? It's just gonna kind of show us. Now, also, it's gonna be inevitable when we start painting things, your leaves and some of your flowers are gonna go into that area a little bit, and that's totally fine. We just wanna protect the majority of the area is all, okay? Okay, now that we have that, we're gonna switch back to our larger brush again that we were just using. So I'm taking mine out of the water, and you can still see that I have paint and water on it, and that's fine. What you can do is just take your paper towel and just get the water off of it and the chunks. You know, I still, you know, when you wipe away, you get most of the paint, but that's okay because we're just gonna jump right back into the same color, okay? So don't worry too much about that. Okay. So moving on. So we're gonna move on to some of these smaller flowers. So we're gonna do the same thing where we travel around our canvas and just try to stay with me. I'm gonna kind of go a little bit quickly because now that we've done our 4 main flowers, at least the first layer, you've kind of gotten used to this paint, you've kind of gotten used to your brush, and we're just gonna hop around and start dabbling and just adding some paint here and there, okay? So we're gonna start up at the top with this flower, and we're just gonna kind of move down here to these guys, and maybe on those. And then we're gonna switch colors. And we're just gonna keep kind of rotating around and around and around, okay? One thing that's gonna happen is your painting is going to evolve exactly how your painting needs to evolve. It is not going to look like my painting, and it's not gonna look like each other's. So as I start laying in these flowers, just lay them in the best way you can in the general area, okay? Especially when after we get these medium-sized flowers in, these little ones are gonna start fitting in, and your leaves are gonna go different ways, and it's just, everyone's just gonna be very different. So let it be different, okay? All right, I'm gonna jump right into some more of that peachy flamingo pink color, and I'm gonna mix just a little bit more here. One thing you can do is if you do have to mix more of a color, mix it slightly different so you get some variation in your flowers. So you can mix it with a little more red so it's a little bit more pinky, or mix it with a little more yellow so it's a little more tropical, or you can jump in and use some purple and mix some purples. Okay, whatever you want to do. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to jump up here, starting by this kind of
all the kernels on the
like
bottom.
sunburst flower.
1 minute and
Take
45
my
seconds.
brush and I'm going to make like a sideways U, like
Yeah.
okay. So I have that sideways U, and then right in the middle there, I'm going to pull down. So I have like an E, right? And then I'm going to pull down in the middle again, and then again. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have about 5 petals there, roughly. Okay, that look just like that. Right next to it, kind of up next to the side, I'm just gonna do a little flower here. It's gonna be like a, you can make like a little happy face almost. It's like a little mini version of this flower. Okay, it's got like 3 little petals there, right up there, aiming upward. Okay. All right, we're gonna jump down here now to this section. You can see we're kind of picking up the pace just a little bit here. I'm gonna do 2 more flowers. I'm gonna do 1, and watch how I do it, and then you can do it. It's gonna kind of aim upward. I can do that U kind of shape again, and I'm just gonna pull from the top down and just create a couple more petals, okay? So similar to this flower, just aiming a different direction, okay? And then once again, I'm gonna do another little one right out to the side. Okay, and that one only has 4 petals, so whatever it is that you want it to be. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna do another little cluster that's gonna kind of fit right in this area here. And it's very similar to these guys, okay? So it's a cluster of 2 about that size roughly and 3 little small ones. So I'm gonna do my first one right here. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna give it 4 petals like so. I'm gonna do 1 right out to the side here. 3 little petals. You know, and these don't have to really even have petals. You know, maybe this next one might just be more like a blob, like a rose that's kind of tight, still together before it's been opened. So I'll just do something like that where it's just kind of a little oval or a smear. I'm gonna do 1 kind of aiming downward that has some that are more open like so. It's kind of an awkward guy. Okay. And I'll do another little one right there. Now all of these flowers are gonna be attached to the same stem. And you'll see how that'll work later. They're kind of in a radial position there, okay? All right, I'm gonna jump over to this corner here next. And same idea, this next little cluster is all gonna be a part of 1 stem. I'm gonna do, this is gonna be the biggest flower down here in the corner. And it's not even that big, it's just 3 little guys like so, or 3 little petals. And then there's 4 that are literally, it's just a print of my paintbrush. So I have paint on my brush and I'm gonna press it on the canvas. I'm gonna go 1 time, pick it up, 2, 3, 4. And can you see how those almost just look like little flowers? And it's just the print of your paintbrush. Pretty effortless. It's pretty great. Okay. So once you have those done, we're not really doing anything else right here. If you want to, now would be a great time for you to pick up the color again and revisit your large ones. And see, I'm just touching them real quick. I'm taking that color. I'm not even filling out the whole petal. I don't know if you can see that with my lighting, but I'm allowing some of my petals to get a second coat and some areas of them not to, so that I have that sort of shading without trying to shade kind of feel. You can hit each of your flowers again real quick. I'm just taking my brush and running over 1 more quick ice easy layer, okay? And it's cool if you hit it again with a color that's slightly different. Then you've got even more, you know, variety in there, and that's really nice too. Like my pink is like just a little bit pinker this time around. So I'm just going over my bigger flowers here. Just real quick. I'm on the last one. Okay. So you have something kind of like this. Now, once you've gone around on all of those, grab a little bit of red and mix it into that flamingo-y pink color, or a little bit of yellow if you're more on the tropical side, whatever it is. You just want a slightly different color, okay? And I'm gonna go up to this big petal or this big flower here, and I'm just gonna take this color and I'm just gonna add almost just like an accent or a highlight. Just smear it in every once in a while. Just kind of wherever. Can you guys kind of see that okay? Just like that. Okay. I'm gonna do the same thing to this flower down here, and that's all we're gonna do. We're gonna take a little break. We're gonna smear a little bit of that pink. Just give it a little bit of something. Okay, no real rhyme or reason to that. Okay. I'll give you guys just a second to kind of get caught up there. I'm gonna go close the blinds over on this side of the shop. The sun's starting to come in here and our light's gonna get super funky. I'll be right back. Mm. All right, how's everybody doing? Okay? Nobody looks like they're having a panic attack, so that's fine. That's good. Okay, so we're gonna jump down to our size 3 brush. So it's the only brush we haven't used yet. It's your middle size brush, not your detail, not the one we were just using, but your nice middle size brush. And we're probably gonna use this brush for the rest of the painting until, well, most of the rest of the painting, until we're about like 80% done. We're gonna use this brush. So you're gonna get real close with it real quick. We're gonna start working some details in our larger flowers. So like little details like this red kind of coming in, the centers, these little dots, things like that, okay? The first thing I want you to do, I'm gonna show you my palette, is we're gonna mix the yellow that's gonna go in the center of our flowers. So anytime I'm working on a black background, I just take a little bit of white and I bring it over to the color, so in yellow in this case, and I mix it in, okay? You don't necessarily want a pastel color. You want just a slightly lighter. You still want your color to be pretty bold and beautiful, but that white really helps make it a little bit chalkier, a little bit more opaque when you're painting with it, okay? So I've got that color. I'm gonna come over to this first, well, we'll start with our first flower that we actually painted. I'm gonna take this color and I'm just gonna paint a nice little circle in the center. Just a happy little circle. Okay. I'm gonna come on over to this one, and this is gonna get a really nice big circle. Center. Okay, it's nice and big. It's a big daisy or something. Okay. Kind of larger than you're maybe comfortable doing. I think it makes it a little bit more whimsical, a little bit more playful. Okay. Then down here, this one, just gonna be a nice little one.
That mama.
And then this one right here, we're just gonna do a little here because we're gonna actually add some red, but that'll be a good little mark for us. So don't worry too much about that one. It's probably gonna get painted over. Okay. Okay. While we have yellow on our brush, let's put in a couple of these little yellow flowers that we have kind of floating around here. These are very fun. They're very simple to do. They go by very quick. They're like when you think of a flower in your head and you have to draw one real quick, they're like that go-to flower that you do. So this is where you're really gonna start letting your painting be whatever it wants to be, okay? It's really gonna kind of start to evolve here. So I'm gonna put a cluster of 3 of these yellow flowers right up in here. The first one's gonna be the biggest. My other 2 are gonna be small. And all I'm gonna do is make 5 circles that touch, okay? So I'm gonna go like this, 1, or even ovals if you want, whatever. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, kind of see that. I'm gonna do one a little bit up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And one out to the side here. Okay. I'm gonna do another little cluster of 3, but they're a little bit smaller, right up somewhere near this guy, okay? So I'm gonna do 1 right here. Let's see, I'll do 1, I guess I'll do 1 like out here. So I'm kind of coming into my dotted area here a little bit, and that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll do another one over here. So, you know, put these kind of wherever you feel like. Okay. You like that. I'm gonna jump across my canvas to the opposite side over here now. And I'm gonna do the same thing, a cluster of 3. And you know, every time you paint one of these, paint it a slightly different size, just for variation. 1, 2, 3. Okay. They just look like little smearies. And I have 1 more cluster of these guys, and they're gonna be right down here, okay? And so in my original painting, I had more room from my dotted area, between my dotted area and my flower down here. And so this is a good example of how I'm just gonna have to kind of make this work. So I'm still gonna do them down in this area, but I might just move it over slightly. So y'all just make it work however it works for your painting. One, 2, 3. I'll do another one right there. Okay. Smeary little blobby guys. Okay. I'm gonna stick my brush in the water and I'm gonna wash all that yellow off. So when you're done with those guys, go ahead and rinse your brush, get that yellow off, get the water off, especially get the water off of the metal part of your brush. The last thing you want is to go in for a nice little detail and have a little water droplet drop down and get all over your canvas. Okay. So when you're ready, I'm gonna just take a little bit of this red and I want something a little darker than this pink that we just used to kind of do the highlights. So I'm gonna just add a little bit of red over in here and just let a little bit of this pink mix in, just a little. You just want like a super fuchsia maybe. Okay. So when I mix a color, especially when I'm using a small brush, you don't necessarily always want big gobs of paint. So when you're mixing, you know, your brush is kind of left something like this where you have big gobs of paint on it. So one thing I do is, I don't know if you can see my fingers, but I'm rolling my brush. I take it to the palette and I roll it, and that helps get a lot of the paint off, and then I'm left with a really nice pencil point. Okay, so that's kind of a little trick when you're mixing with a small brush. Alrighty, so we're gonna go and put in some details. I'm gonna start right up in here. Move you guys closer. I'm gonna start right up in this area, and I'm just gonna go right around this, and I'm just gonna make kind of like a little sunshine. I know my hand's in the way. Okay. Next, I'm gonna come to this big daisy over here, and I'm gonna do the same thing, except a lot tighter. I'm gonna travel all the way around, and I'm just gonna go, don't stick your hand in your flowers like me. I'm just gonna go right around kind of quickly, you know, just dab it and pull. I know my hand's in the way. There we go. Okay, so you have something kind of like that. This last one, or I'm sorry, the second to last one down here is very similar to our first one that we did. It's just gonna have a couple of little guys kind of coming out of it. A little ray of sunshine. And then finally, this one here, I'm really gonna press my brush down nice and hard so I get a nice big bold mark when I do this. I want some nice thick lines. And I'm just gonna go around. You might cover up your center, and that's okay. We'll put it back in. Yeah, something kind of like that. Catherine, the pictures on your wall behind you are so cute.
Oh, thank you.
Are they in black and white, or are they in color, but they just look black and white?
No, they're all black and white.
That's really cool. It's pretty. For a long time in our house, I feel so bad for Silas. We only had pictures of Elisha up because we had him, and then we had all these pictures, and we put him up on the wall, and then poor Silas was born. I was just too tired to rearrange and redecorate around all the pictures. Yeah,
it's not me.
It's so funny, the difference between the first child and the second child, and then soon the third child. And
love, we all know.
I know, right? So fun. Okay, there's one more flower we're gonna do a little bit of this red detailing on, and it's this little guy up here. And we're just gonna mimic that shape that we did, but just smaller. So just come around here, like so. Okay, just give it like a little cap. Okay. If your yellow flowers are dry, you can grab a little bit of the red, just the good old red, or you can grab a little red and kind of smoosh it into that color we were just using, whatever, any color that you like. And we're just gonna take this color, we're gonna dab the center of our flowers so we have a center. And I'm just taking my brush and pressing it into the center. I'm not really drawing with it or anything. I'm just taking it and I'm smooshing it in there, just so I get kind of a weird organic shape in the center of my flowers. Okay. Also too, you probably noticed the yellow is especially transparent on a black background. And so if you need to do a second coat there, you absolutely can. But let your paint dry completely before you do that second coat. That way it doesn't smear and everything kind of stays put for you. Okay, wash your brush when you are done with that red, and we're going to move into doing a few stems. I'm going to give you guys a second to wash your brush, kind of do any kind of second coats you want to do on these flowers, like if you want to do a second coat on your yellow flowers, or any kind of shading that you needed to catch up on. And I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go look for a extension cord for my computer.
Let's do it. Is your paint over?
Uh-uh.
Can you give me one too? Put some water. Need some water. Can you use some? Oh, give me some water, please.
Yeah, hold on.
I have my black cup. It's very dirty.
Come on, I'm in the middle of something.
Mama. Dad's a purple top. Purple top. Mama, here is a purple top, I guess. Oh, no, no,
Okay.
no, no, no.
Here you go.
Okay, in action here. Okay. Okay, sorry, I had to readjust just a little bit. Here we go. All right, you guys, so we're gonna keep using that smaller brush. So get it all nice and washed out, get all that red out, all that water out. Nope, get Catherine back in. Okay, guys. So let's get moving in on our stems. Okay, so this is where we're at right now. We've done all of our big flowers, some of our medium flowers, we've done some shading. Okay. So if you look at this painting, there's a lot of greenery. Okay, the green really fills in a lot of this space. So that's what we're going to kind of work on next, is just kind of getting some of these laid out before we get too busy with our other dots. Okay, let me show you my palette. I've got my nice clean brush. Okay, and once again, this is my size 3, which is that nice smaller medium-sized brush, the size up from my detail brush. Okay, green. This green is a beautiful green, but it tends to be very transparent. And so I'm going to take a little bit of my white, which is kind of just the rule of thumb, bring it over to my green, and kind of start pulling that green in there. I'm going to grab a little bit of yellow. then bring it in as well. Okay. Mix a color that you enjoy looking at, whatever kind of green that is. Okay. A pretty green. We're gonna mix a few different greens tonight. We're gonna mix another green that's gonna be more on the blue side. Okay, so for now we just need more of a lighter green, but maybe you want more yellow in there, maybe you don't, maybe you like it with more white, however you like it, just mix a green that you like. Get all the gobs of paint off of your brush, whether that's wiping it on a paper towel or rolling it on your palette so you get more of a pencil kind of point. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna say something too real quick about this. So you'll notice that this stem is going upwards like this. And that's because originally when I did this painting, I do think I actually did it this way. This was my up and this was my bottom. And so as you're painting, you might learn that maybe it looks better this way, or maybe it does look better this way, but kind of turn it around every once in a while. And you might find that the way that you had originally composed it, actually it looks better when it's turned upside down. So it's something to keep in mind before you do your wording, okay? Kind of look at it at all different angles, and I'll remind you guys of that later. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna start working on our stems now. The first one we're gonna work on is gonna be this one up here. Okay, and so how I'm gonna do it, I'm just gonna take my brush, and remember it's important to get all the gobs off, okay? So I'm gonna take my brush, and I'm just gonna angle my line kind of going upwards. Kind of like that, okay? I'm gonna try to get this to my computer a little bit closer. Okay, that might be better for you guys. Once I have that line, I'm gonna draw in a few little leaves, okay? And the way I do these is I'm gonna make my line a little bit, my stem a little bit longer. I'm gonna do one by kind of coming up, I kind of jump off and I kind of angle outward. So it's kind of like an elongated backwards S. An elongated backwards S. I'm gonna then meet this line down here and just pull it upward. So I have a curve met with I have a double curve met with a single curve, basically, is what I'm doing, okay? I don't know if that makes sense, but then I'm just gonna fill that in. That's my first little leaf. I'm gonna do another one at the bottom here. So I have a curvy little leaf there and there. And in between these two leaves, I have just a little guy that just kind of comes out like so. Okay. So our next little grouping that we're going to work on is this guy up here. He does not have a stem at all, this big daisy guy. He's a floater, okay? But this one right here, his stem actually comes out like this, and then this small flower is connected. So you can connect it however you want, whether it's a curve or a straight line, it doesn't matter. And then he's got these small little leaves that come out to either side. So you can do those little leaves, are like little almonds, and they kind of alternate. Okay, something kind of like that. Doesn't have to be the same, but something similar. Okay. All right, we're gonna jump on down to this little section here. And I got a little bit of red on my flower, so just ignore that. Don't think that you're supposed to do that too. That's just from me bouncing around on my arm, being crazy all over this painting, and holding up this painting while I'm painting is a challenge too. So we might get all kinds of fun marks. So this is fun. I love doing little leaves like this. I call them little hugs because what it looks like is the leaves are just hugging or cupping the flower. So I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to draw or pull down two little almond shaped leaves that are just hugging that flower, or just kind of cupping that flower. And I'm going to do that to both of these little leaves here. Okay. And then somehow these two flowers are going to be joined onto one stem. And the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to show you what it is in the original painting because it's going to be different in the painting that I'm about to do. But it's right here. It's these two little flowers. I'm going to pull this line down and around and then connect this one as well. Okay. Now in my painting that I'm working on right now, I am very, very close to this flower. Okay, so if that's the situation for you, you can do one of two things. You can either draw your stem coming down and then it just goes behind that flower and that's just what it does. And I'm gonna draw my other one just kind of coming down and it's just gonna go behind that flower. Or you can angle it to go a different way. You can angle your stem going this way or however it works for your painting, okay? So that's what we're left with. The same thing is going to go for this little cluster down here, okay? There's going to be one main stem that they all connect to. And so the way that's going to look is, I just dropped my brush. And I painted my toe, so now I have green toenails. Okay. So how that's going to look is I'm actually going to do a little hug on this flower down here, this bigger one, okay? And then I'm going to take my brush and kind of come up and over. And you might go behind your firework flower or you might not. You might even angle up into your yellow flowers. Once I have that line, it's going to be very easy to kind of connect everybody else. I'm going to come in here, pull that guy in, pull that guy in, pull that guy in, and that one in, okay? And then you can go into and you can give each of these little hugs. And see how I'm doing that? I'm just pressing my brush and letting it leave an impression. And it's gonna look different for everybody too. You know, and another thing is, if you're having a hard time getting thinner lines with this brush, you can either jump down to your detail brush if you're gonna feel more comfortable because it's a smaller brush, it'll hold a smaller amount of paint. But if you wanna continue using this brush, then I would recommend using less paint on your brush, so wipe off some of the paint, and also use less pressure. So if you tend to be heavy-handed, like when you write, you're just a hard writer, you will paint hard as well. So try thinking light thoughts, think light like a feather, and just kind of sweep your brush across the canvas, or just press very, very lightly so you're almost like dragging your brush across instead of pressing it down, okay? All of that just takes time and practice, but just kind of be aware of that as you're painting. All right, we're gonna work on this little cluster now over here, okay? And the way this one's gonna work is very, very similar. There's gonna be one main stem that they all then connect to. So I'm gonna start with my, I'm actually gonna start with my first small flower in my area. So I have this nice big flower right here. I'm gonna jump over to this guy right here and I'm gonna pull a line that way. Now this one is gonna connect, that one's gonna connect, that one's gonna connect, that one's gonna connect, okay? And this one right here gets a hug. I'm gonna hug him and I'm gonna even give him a couple extra little extra support there. I'm gonna give this stem a little bit of leaves too. So I'm gonna give it a little leaf out to the side here, just a little almond shaped leaf. Or honestly, whatever shaped leaf you want. If you like those kind of wavier leaves, do those. Whatever feels natural for you. I'm gonna do one down here too. It just feels like I should do one here. I didn't do one in the original painting here, but for me right now, I want one there. So look at yours and see what you think. Okay. Okay, so things are starting to kind of fill out a bit for us. take a look back and look at what's going on in your canvas. We're making progress. Once you guys have all of your stems in, you can go ahead and wash your brush. And I'll show you guys the original painting again too. I know that's an issue with doing online classes I found is that my students don't always get to look at the original painting for reference the whole time because my space here, my elbow space is very limited and I knock things. So if you have your phone near you or something or another iPad, you can always pull this up also. So it's next to you. It's on our Humble Life Facebook page. And that way you have it as reference too. But here you go. Okay. And don't forget to, you know, as we work through this, if I go too quickly through a certain section, just hang on, just keep on kind of trucking through with me. And remember that you can always revisit all of this again later on your own time. Just, you know, you can either look at the recording again, or you can just sit in the quiet peace of your sleeping house tonight, if that's a thing for you, and you can work on it too, okay? So something to remember if you're feeling a little bit, you know, frustrated or nervous or having any anxiety about doing some of this stuff. Okay. So now we have a clean brush. Okay, so wash all that green off, and we're still using our size 3. We're gonna go in and we're gonna just put in some more flowers, okay? We've got a few more little flowers to dabble in. And so I'm going to put my computer down so that you can see. This color is really beautiful. I'm gonna take a little bit of this like flamingo-y pink here, and I'm gonna mix it with just a little bit of this yellow, this off yellow that we have. I'm actually even gonna grab a little more white. So just you wanna mix a color that's gonna be on the lighter side. Okay. Maybe more on the orangey side would be nice, just to get a little bit of contrast. Or, you know, this would be a great time if you haven't used your lavender to use a little bit of white and your purple mixed together. If you wanna incorporate purple. Okay. I've got that color mixed. Plugging it in. Now these flowers are, oh, sorry, Lacey, I see you.
It's okay. I'm having a switching devices.
Gotcha.
Hey.
No. Way to go, Mama. All right, you guys. Hey, Nora. If you're for an adventure too, you guys, you can change things up and you can change the orientation of your painting if you want to just start painting this way. Like I flipped it totally upside down, just to see what happens. You know, to get a different. Okay, so let's keep going. We're gonna do. Oh, we lost Lacey again. She'll jump back on. Poor thing. There she is.
Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties.
No worries. No worries at all. Sunset's really beautiful right now. If you guys need to take a breather and look at the beautiful colors in the sky. I'm watching it from the shop window. It's a good one. Okay. All right. Cool. So now we have this sort of like orangey, yellowy orangey color on our brush. I got that, just to recap, by mixing yellow with a little bit of that flamingo pink color, that tropical pink color that we had, and then adding some more white to it. Okay, so these next flowers are a breeze. They're super easy to do. I don't want you to think too hard about them. We're just gonna plug them in, and you can kind of scatter these wherever you want. I have 2 places, but if you like these, put them in more places, okay? We're gonna start in this little corner right here, and all these they're just like stars almost, okay? And the way I do it, let me bring you closer. The way I do it is I just take my brush and I just pull inward about 5 times. Okay? I'm gonna do 6 of those up here, if you can. You know, maybe you have more room, maybe you have less room. Just fit as many as you can up here, whatever you want. Okay. We're just really filling space here. And you might get a little crowded, and that's good. You want to be crowded, okay? Oops. It's even okay too if you overlap a little bit. Like I might overlap my stem right here because I really want to put in another one. So that's okay. The other section we're going to put the flowers in is going to be down here, okay, over by this flower up in this area. So I'm just going to put in a couple more. Kind of fill that space. Okay, something like that. And it's okay if you have little areas like I have that little black area right in there. Just leave that be. We can put some dots in there later. Not a big deal at all. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do another flower in these colors, and it's this guy right here. Okay, these are funky little guys. I don't know what they are. Really made up of a cool little flower. Okay, so they're in 2 different spots as well. Okay, so over here by our yellow flowers, I'm gonna draw like 2 parentheses that kind of make an almond shape, like so. And then from the bottom, I'm gonna kind of come out 3 times with a little doo-doo-doo. Okay, I want you to make that sound when you paint that too. Doo-doo-doo. And I'm gonna do 3 of those. And they're kind of in like a little cluster. Okay. They all have their own stem in the end, so don't worry about them needing to be connected. But there's my 3. Okay, I'm gonna do 3, actually I'm only gonna do 2. I'm gonna do 2 more up in this area, right up in here. Now I'm gonna show you where they are in the original painting because it's a little bit different than it is on mine right now. They are right here, okay? So I have the yellow flowers here, I have the large flower here, and they're right under that large flower. But if you look in my painting here, where are we? Oh, actually, oh, that worked out really well. I reversed mine. So I did 3 up where I just told you to do the 2. So if you want to see, if you want to compare, I know that got a little bit confusing. So I did 3 where I did 2 on this one. Okay, my painting was actually upside down. I wasn't paying attention. Go figure, right? So I'm gonna do 2 over here now on the opposite side, coming down this quite nicely. So do 2 or 3, whatever works for you and your painting. Do those little cues, okay? Cool. So I'm looking, believe it or not, we have one more flower to do. They're breeze. They are so very easy to do. Then the rest of it is going to be greenery and dots. And then I'll show you how to do words. Okay. I'm washing my brush a bit. We're going to go into that nice soft yellow that we have. And we're going to do some little tulips. So mine is kind of getting dry. So I'm just going to mix up a little bit of white and yellow together. A nice soft yellow, even a pastel. I'm gonna make sure my painting is the correct orientation this time. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna make a print with my brush, looks like 5 times right here. And all of these connect to the same stem at some point. So I'm just gonna go like this. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's just a print of my brush. I'm taking my brush, pressing it to the canvas, and then lifting up. So I just get that nice little smeary mark there. So I'm doing those right there under my daisy above the sky, okay? And I'm gonna do them again over here. They curve in here really nicely. So I'm gonna do 2, 4, I'm gonna do 6 of them, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Okay. You're gonna wash your brush again. You don't have to wash it very well. I mean, very good. You can just kind of, because it's just yellow and we're gonna be mixing with some green. So just get all the water out of it. That's your main goal here. Okay. So we're gonna mix another green. So you should have a nice chunk of this lighter green that we have yellow, white, and our base green in. Okay, now we're gonna mix blue and green together. And when you mix blue and green, you get a turquoise, okay? So you wanna be heavy on the green, easy on the blue. You can always grab more blue to mix in. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit to start, bring it near my green and kind of pull it in and start mixing. You wanna grab a little white too. That really helps you see what you're mixing. And the goal of adding the blue really is just to make a nice darker green. It's not necessarily to make a turquoise as much as it is just you want this to be a little bit richer of a green. Your goal here is really, when you get done mixing, is to have 3 different greens. You want a darker green, a nice medium green, and a nice light green, okay? So if you've done that, you've done a great job. And however you get there, that's up to you, but that's kind of how I like to do it. Add that blue and mix it in. So this is more of like a foresty green, and this is more of like a tropical green. We're getting all of them in tonight. Okay. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna just start plugging in random shapes and colors to fill out this space, okay? There's 2, let's see, there's 2 kind of main leafy green areas that we're gonna start with, and that's gonna be over by our tulips. So there's gonna be a stem that kind of comes out this way. But right down in this area, I have these 2 nice big leaves that just look like 2 almonds that are coming out of the same point. Okay, I'm gonna fill those in. While my paint is still wet, I'm gonna kind of just wipe off a little bit of that green that we just used, but I'm gonna pick up that lighter green and I'm gonna go right down on top of it and smear in a line there, and smear in a nice line there for just a little bit of contrast, a little bit of highlight. Okay, I'm gonna jump back to my nice dark rich foresty green and I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, back over here. Now I want you to remember that these guys are gonna have stems, okay? So, you know, like for example, actually, we could even just use this green to draw in our stems, which might be easier. So let's do that. We're gonna take this and we're gonna draw 3 little lines. Okay, they can go any way. They can touch, they don't have to touch, but they have these sweet little leaves kind of coming on either side of them. So I'm just taking my brush and I'm going back and forth. Okay, so I get some little leaves on there. And since we're here, you may as well do that on these flowers as well. If you can fit them in, this is really where it gets fun and interesting, is like, how am I gonna fit these lines? And this is where the busyness comes into play, which I love about this painting. So fit them in however you can. You might overlap a little bit, and that is just fine. Okay. So after that little tangent, let's take this green again and do this nice big wide leaf on this side, wherever, however you can fit it in. I'm gonna fit mine in right here. 2 almonds, okay, like so. Then I'm gonna take my lighter green and give it a highlight. I love using paint, wet paint on wet paint. Get some really nice marks there, okay. Okay. We're just about to jump down to our detail brush, but before we do, I want to do, let's see, I just want to do one more thing with this larger brush and this this really beautiful dark green. We're gonna do these little guys right here. Where are they? Right in here. Can you see those with this lighting? I know it's kind of funky. Okay, these guys right in here, and all they are, it's very similar to our tulips, where we just pressed the paintbrush to the canvas and lift it, okay? We're just making a print or just a pull, and it makes this little leaf shape. These are fun, and these are everywhere, okay? So I'm gonna start up here, okay? And similarly to our flowers, I'm just gonna travel around the canvas, and y'all follow me as best you can, just kind of dabbling kind of as we go, okay? So I'm gonna start right up in here, and I'm gonna take this forest green color, or this tropical jungly green color, and I'm gonna press down and make a print. So you see kind of what that looks like? It's really just the shape of my brush pressing down, okay? It doesn't matter what shape this is, but you're getting the idea. I'm gonna press down, and they're gonna be kind of close together, and I'm doing this to kind of fill this space here, okay? Now try to be as random as you possibly can. Try your hardest not to put them down in a pattern, because if you mess up your pattern, your eye is forever going to look back at that one spot that you missed on your pattern, okay? So just try to be random. Try not to think about it. That's really the key here, okay? And you can do as much or as little of these as you want. In my original painting, these actually, my dot right here was actually a bit higher. And so these met my dot right up here, but right now I have a space here, so I'm gonna have to fill that in a little while, okay? So I have those here. Now I have them over here as well. Gosh, let's see. they're kind of over in this area. So our tulips are about to have stems. So pretend like this last tulip kind of has a stem here, and then this space back here is just gonna have some of these right in there, okay? Just some right in that general area. Okay. I'm also going to put some down here. So this is kind of going to be the name of the game for the rest of the painting, is we're just going to be doing these little marks that with different colors that just fill space. Okay, this is really how we're gonna fill out our space. Okay, I'm gonna jump over here and I'm gonna do some over here. And these are kind of angled inward. So everything almost is either like being pushed out from my center or it's coming inward, okay? So I'm kind of angling this a little bit more inward and I'm gonna fill this space up over here. Okay. And it looks like I have like a couple, just like a random couple just right back in here. I don't know if you have space for that or not, but I do. So I'm gonna plug in a few back there, okay? That's what we're looking at. Okay, when you're done with that, go ahead and drop this brush in the water. So we're gonna work with our detail brush next. I'll show you the painting again, so you can see that. We're gonna put in our stems for our tulips, okay? I do think that's the last bit of stem work that we have to do. Then we're just gonna put in a bunch of leaves. We're gonna do a bunch of leaves, and we're gonna do a bunch of dots, then we're gonna do a bunch of red dots. And then I think we're pretty well done. And you can kind of take a look at your painting and see where you have some missing holes. And that's where you can add in any kind of flower that you enjoyed painting tonight. So if you really like doing the yellow flowers, you add more of those. If you really like the red dots we're about to do in a little while, then add those, that kind of thing. But also there is a secret behind some of these white dots that we're going to incorporate as well. And I'll go over that in a little while. And you'd be amazed at the power behind a simple white dot and how much space that can hold. So anyway, your canvas might look a little like not as full right now, and that's okay. These dots really start filling in space, okay? So just give it a minute. Okay, let's see. So if you're ready, jump into your detail brush, okay? And I'm gonna use that limey green, that light limey green that we were using before. You use whatever green you want to, whatever green you like. Now this is where you really need to pay attention to pressure, how much pressure you are applying to the canvas. You want just a very light amount of pressure because you want a very nice fine line here. So we're gonna do the stems to our tulips, okay? So how you do this is you're gonna pick a tulip, any tulip you wanna start with, okay? And you're gonna draw a very nice, thin, fine, kind of curved line from it. Okay, now out to the side, you're gonna do 2 leaves, similarly to these up here that we did. Okay, 2 leaves, and then you can go ahead and fill the 2 leaves in. One can be a slightly different size than the other. One can be a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, whatever. Okay, now you're gonna take a stem down from each one of your tulips in that same curve, okay? So I'm gonna curve inward and around and connect, inward and around and connect. Okay, so each flower will have its own stem. Okay, that's it on this painting, and I will show you on the original painting so you can see the difference. These guys right in here. Okay. So you're gonna do that to your tulips on the other side also. That gets really fun, like with space. And so these are gonna be a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller, but it's the same idea with your, just pick one and draw your stem. From it, you can draw your 2 leaves that's gonna come out. If they fit at all, maybe they don't, that's okay. And then you're gonna bring in each. Okay. that's how mine ended up, kind of making squashy in there. Okay. So now that we have those stems, we're gonna go around a couple of our flowers, and it looks like we're just gonna give them a couple little leaves. So at this point, you can pick any green that you like. Okay, your goal is to have some contrast here, but I'm gonna come up to these flowers at the top, the little star flowers that we did, and I'm gonna put in a couple of little leaves, and I'm not gonna think too hard about this. I'm just gonna take my small brush, my detail brush, and I'm just gonna come out to the side every once in a while and just give a little dash. Just every once in a while. Maybe some of your flowers have leaves. Maybe some of them just have one. Maybe some of them don't have any, okay? And so go to your star flowers wherever they are on your painting. I have some more down in here, and just give them a little line, okay? Just to show, hey, I have a leaf. I'm part of a plant, I'm not just floating. And while we're here, you know, wipe off that green real quick. You don't necessarily have to wash your brush, but just wipe it off on your paper towel. And go ahead and give those star flowers a center. And in the original painting, it's just that nice rich pink, the richest pink you have, or it's like almost a red. You can even just use straight red if you want to. And I'm just taking a dot and I'm dotting it in the center real quick in each of my star flowers. Okay, that took all of what, a few seconds, right? Then you gotta wash your brush. You gotta get all that red off next. That's okay. Okay, we're gonna jump into some more green now. And like I said, at this point, just pick up greens, pick up different greens every time. Every time you go back to your palette, pick up a slightly different green. We have the 3 that are mixed on our palette already, or 3, you know, 2 of them are mixed, 1 of them is an original green, but just, you want variety here, okay? So I'm gonna start back up at the top, and I'm just gonna do, these are like little upside down V's, or like A's without the line in the middle. All it is this, okay? And I'm just gonna do those angling towards my center and kind of just filling up this space here. So I'm just gonna go up, 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 all the way, okay? You know, if you want, you can go all the way back up in here. You don't have to, because we also have blue dots that we're gonna put back in here. So just a couple of those. I've got more, let's see, I'm gonna travel down to this bottom corner down here, and I'm gonna put them all actually so that they're coming out of that flower, and they're coming out and they're heading towards this corner. So I'm being rather quick with these. I'm just gonna kind of put them in. So they're all just kind of spouting out and heading towards this corner. You know, they don't all have to be the same size. Some can be big, some can be small, or you can keep them all the same size, whatever you're feeling. Okay, got all those guys in here. Now this space here, I have some red dots, so you might want to leave a little bit of an area there for some dots in just a minute. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna travel, let's see, I'm gonna travel, got the wrong green. I'm gonna go up my canvas now over to this side, in between where I have my tulips that we did with our stems and our jungly leaves. I'm just gonna put a couple right in here. You may or may not have room for them, okay? I did like 6. In the original painting, I think I have 5. Okay. All right, and so just a reminder, every time you go back to your palette for one of these lines, grab a different green. Okay, whether it's that jungle green or you're mixing new greens, you can mix these 2 greens together and see what happens. That's always fun. But you just want variety and contrast, okay? All right, so the next mark we're gonna make is, it's kind of like a little chicken foot. So what I do is I'm gonna do them right up here, is I'm gonna make like a kind of a curved V with a line in the middle. And these can go any which way you want. Okay, so I'll show you in the original painting. I think you can see them better than when I'm holding them up. Let me find a section where there's a lot of them. It's all these guys down here. You see those? Okay. So I just up towards the top of my painting. Let's see, where's my top? Here it is. Okay, up here. So I'm gonna travel down. Let's see. I've got them down in here. So here we go. We've got one like right in here. I've got a couple right in here. So little chicken feet. Remember to leave space. Believe it or not, we're gonna have some little blue dots that we're gonna put in there. Okay, now I'm gonna travel back over. I'm gonna go past my yellow flowers, and in between my yellow tulips and my yellow flowers, I've got some more little chicken feet. Okay. Plug in as many as you want. There are some blue dots over here too, so just be mindful of that, okay? And then you know what, I have a handful of them kind of up here by my yellow flowers. I think I added those in last when I was just kind of filling out space, but I'm just gonna go ahead and add them in just for the sake of, you know, just showing you how you can just start incorporating these kind of wherever you want, okay? See how we're just filling out this space with just these very simple marks, okay? All right. I'm looking at the painting now. Let's see what we can do next. Let's go ahead and rinse out this green, and let's do some of our red. We have some red dots that we can do real quick. Okay, I have 3 different sections of red dots. I have them right here. I have them right here. And I have them right down here. Okay. And that is exactly what they are. If you look closely, they are just red dots that some of them are small, some of them are big. They're all just different sizes, kind of clumped together, and they just fill out an area, okay? So if you want, you can use just the pure red that you have in your palette. If you've already used that, like maybe for the center of your flowers, if you use a fuchsia, that gold color, I recommend with that, using that color. So I'm going to let that go in. Palette. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to put some of those red dots right in here under my yellow flowers. So every time I put them, it's just a different size. They're all different. They're all over the place. I'm really starting to get close up to my my white dots, especially. So just mindful. All right, I'm going to put some down here in this corner, right next to my my little V's. Filling those out, just filling up that space best you can. Okay, and then I'm going to jump over here under my yellow flowers, above my tulips. And just fill some out in here. Okay. Okay, so got red dots in. We're gonna do, oh, while we're here, guys, go ahead, you know, smear some of that red that's on your brush with one of your lighter colors, like that orangey color. And we're just gonna go to these little like snapdragon-y guys and just add just a little something on the base of them. Like so. Here, I'll show you up close. I just added that little bit of color there. You don't have to, but I just thought while we had that color on our brush, I may as well. Okay. The last thing we have to do before we do our white dots are these beautiful little icy blue dots. Okay. These guys right in here. It's the same exact thing as our red dot. I'm going to grab a slightly larger brush just for mixing purposes. It's easier to mix a color with a larger brush. So I'll show you my palette real quick. All I'm gonna do, it's very simple. I'm gonna pick up some white. I'm gonna bring it over to my blue and just pull in just a little bit of blue. Just a very little bit. I actually pulled in too much. You want it to be very icy, very, very light. Okay, like almost white. Okay, once you have that, you can go back to your detail brush. Get all the red out of it. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're almost there, guys. So I'm gonna take these blue dots, and there's actually quite a few sections of these, okay? So once again, just kind of follow me around the best you can. And once you have all of these blue dots filled in, we're just gonna take a look at what we have left, and you can decide what you wanna fill in where, okay? So here we go. We're gonna start with this teeny tiny little section right here. I'm just gonna put in a couple of dots. Now you might have a bigger section over here, and if you do, awesome. Use it, fill it. I'm gonna show you in the original painting. See how that section is just a little bit bigger than what I have here? You can see the difference, maybe. Okay, so just really, you're really making it whatever it wants to be at this point. There's some back here. Okay. I've got some down here. Try these little chicken feet. I love this color with all of these other colors. I think it's pretty unexpected, and it just kind of adds a little bit of pop. But I think I want a little more blue. Mine's a little bit too light. Well, that's a little bit too dark. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna put some over here. Let's see. I guess maybe right in this general area, you know, wherever. Once again, you can make these big or small, all different sizes. You know, whatever we want, whatever fits your personality of your painting. Okay. I've got two more spots that I'm going to show you where I have them. One of them is right up in here. Okay. And it's actually quite a big space. It's all here, and it kind of comes all the way up to over here as well. So this whole nice little area. Quite a little space to fill.
Let me see.
Okay. Last spot is going to be up at the top here, right in here. Okay. All right. So at this point, you're going to notice that you have a couple of areas in your painting that might be a little bit bare. Like, for example, this corner up in here. This is going to be white dots. Okay. So don't worry about that too much. Maybe down in here a little bit. That too is going to be some white dots. In fact, actually, now that I'm looking, there are a couple of little chicken feet down here. So if you want to add some of those little chicken feet marks, you can. Or if there was another mark that you liked better, put those down there, whatever it is that you liked. There's also some white dots down there. Not too many, but there's a couple. I'm looking around the painting. I'm going to show it to you. So I want you to notice the power of these little white dots, okay? So like look up in this corner and see there's not a ton of them, but they still fill the space really well. All right, so take a look at this and see what you think. Look at your painting. Look at the area that might need to be filled in and decide, you know, how you want to fill them in, okay? Whether it's going to be with another technique that we were talking about or if it is. I am going to say, though, if you have not done the other parts of the painting yet, I wouldn't do your white dots, okay? Wait till the very, very end to do your white dots because they, you can use them to fill in spaces that you wouldn't normally know how to fill in, okay? So before we actually even do the white dots, what I think we should do next is I'm going to talk a little bit about the words that are in the center. So we can go ahead and I can teach you how to do the words. And then you can start those with me tonight, and then you can finish them after the video because it does take a good chunk of time to get them done really well. You might even want to consider doing them tomorrow after you've had a little break so you're not so tired because this is the focal point of your painting, right? But after we do our words, then it's going to be very, very easy to do our white dots and really help, it will make them way more concentrated around where our words are. And as they grow out, as they get out to the corners, you'll notice they just get a little bit more sparse. So very concentrated here, and as they go, they get less and less, okay? So you can kind of see what I'm talking about, and I can talk a little bit on that next, okay? So if you want to write in your painting, you're off to a really it takes me forever to figure out what I want to write in the center of my painting. I'm going to say two things about it. One, if you have a paint pen, that's awesome. You probably want to use that. That's going to help you a lot because when you're writing words, you can write it in handwriting, and you're probably way more comfortable with writing handwriting than you are painting. When you start painting, what happens is the letters kind of instead of letters. And so your brain is like, okay, I have to paint this that I'm so familiar with, but it's a shape. So sometimes when you're painting words, they come out totally different than your handwriting. Okay, and that's why. So if you have a white paint pen, use that and do your words that way. But if you don't worry because I'm going to show you what I would do and kind of help walk you through this part, okay? So you're going to want your detail, okay? So I'm going to show you how to do maybe just like the first part of this verse. I like to write in a script when I'm doing paint pen, and I like to write more in like a block print when I'm. But think about what you want, and if you're not sure about your composition, get a piece of paper and draw things out real quick and try to figure out what it is that you want. I stacked a few words here. So I did a mix between a cursive and a bold print, and I just stacked these two words just for composition's sake and to make something a little bit more interesting. And I really wanted an emphasis on the word full because I felt like that was really an emphasis on the verse, you know, that was an important part. So just decide what you sort of think you need and what you want to do there as far as that goes, okay? So anyway, I'm going to get my brush. I'm going to get my brush nice and clean. Okay, get all the water off of it, especially since you're doing some details here. I'm going to angle this down. It's just going to be easier, and I'm going to turn it to the side here the best I can to show you, okay? So on your palette, you probably have some white left over. It might be a little bit gunky, so I'm going to grab a different brush actually here. And I'm going to do something, it's just called activating it. All it is I'm just going to move the paint around a little bit just to get it nice and active again, nice and wet and just not so gunky, okay? So you want to do that. If you have white paint left in your little tubs, you might even want to just dip into that. That might be better for you if it hasn't been sitting out in the air, okay? So I'm going to grab a little bit of this white paint. And when I say a little bit, I'm really just getting a little bit on the tip of my paintbrush, okay? My whole paintbrush does not have paint on it, just the top part of it, okay? So what I do when I do words, and I'm going to be doing this kind of at the side. I'm going to try to figure out how to do it so that maybe I should just do it kind of up like this. Let's see. It's been a while since I taught words this way. Okay, this works. So you want to kind of stare at this for a while and decide, okay, where are my words going to be? Where do I want these words to be? How is this going to work? I find that when I stare at it for a while, I can visualize, and it really helps me when I actually start to apply. But what you're going to do is you're going to start, once you start writing a letter, I want you to commit to finishing the whole letter, even if you run out of paint. I'm going to do the letter I, so I'm not going to run out of paint when I do that, but I'll show you what I mean when I do the have. But anyway, my I, I'm just going to write very, very lightly, and all it is a straight line, right? So I'm just going to apply a light amount of pressure. I'm not pressing hard. In fact, I would say just the very first quarter of my paintbrush is actually touching the canvas. So when I press, you'll see the whole paintbrush, the bristles on the brush are not bending. Just the first quarter of the bristles are bending. And I only have a tiny bit of paint on there anyway. So I'm just getting a nice, thin, even line, okay? So I'm gonna go into the word have, okay? Now watch when I do the H. I don't think, I might run out of paint, but if I do, I'm gonna keep writing that letter, okay? Because it's important just for fluidity. So I'm gonna take my H and I'm gonna bring it down, nice and straight, up. And I'm gonna even keep going while I have it. I'm gonna go into my A, come back around. Okay, and I'm gonna stop. So if you look, you can see the end of my A, I started to run out of paint. It started to get kind of chalky. That's totally cool and fine because now at least I have a map of where I need to go. So now I can go back with my brush and a tiny bit of paint and I can really just fill that letter out the way you want it to look. Okay, you can really take your time and you can shape it out however you want it to be. And then I'm gonna just keep moving on. So I'm gonna move up to my V. Okay, got my V in. And now I'm gonna move into my E. Okay. So one thing you can do if you're a little bit nervous about your writing is you could get a white gel pen and you could write it in white gel pen first. And then if you make a mistake when you're mapping it out, just a little bit of water and a Q-tip will take it right off. You could also get a piece of chalk. That's always a good idea too. And you could chalk it out first and then you just write right on top of it with your paint. Like I said too, if you get a white paint pen, that's a good way to do it too. But I don't want you to have too much anxiety when you're working on these words. Really take your time and make sure you're not super tired when you do them. But if you do make a mistake, it's okay because you have a black background. So let your white dry completely, absolutely completely, and then put the black paint right over the area that you made a mistake on. I would recommend not, if you mess up on one word, don't just paint over the entire thing again. Just try to get black on that little section and let the rest of it stay, okay? So, you know, this is just basically how I do it. I'm more than happy to kind of keep going. I'm gonna write the word come, and then I'm gonna show you a little bit of the white dots, and then I think I'm gonna call it a next, okay? So I just committed to that whole word, and then I can go back and I can flesh it out kind of however I want, okay? Let's just pretend that my whole verse is written here, okay? What you're gonna do then, I'm just gonna do it in a little section. I'm gonna decide, okay, so here's my white dot. So I'm gonna round them out. So I'm just gonna make it really nice and tight. Okay, really dense as much as I can. Okay, I might even curve this around a little bit differently. You know, so my original dots are out here, but I am gonna bring them in a little bit. Now I know this area, I can put in like a whole other flower. I could put in some leaves. I could put in red dots. I could do anything in this area. So you might have areas in your painting too where you just need to add something else, and it's inevitable. It's going to happen. But what I want you to do is, when you're close to this edge, be very thick with your dots. And then as you go out, you're just going to be less and less. Okay, I'm going to carry it all the way through. Okay, all the way out. And so that's just a tiny area of the painting. But like, for example, out here, I'm going to be very dense. And then as I get out here, I'm just going to be less and less. My feet is going to go right in there. You know, out in here. Okay, all the way to the edge. So dense, and then you get less and less as you get out. And you're going to do that all the way around. Very nice and concentrated in the center. You know, I might even bring my dots down this way. So it's going to change. So now I have an area over here that I can add another flower in, or more leaves, or anything, okay? So this is really where you just have to kind of let whatever it wants to be, okay? Also just take a look at it and look at those blank areas. And if you don't want to put white dots in them, by all means, put more flowers, or put the chicken feet, or those little tropical guys, you know, whatever it is that you want them to be. You know, you can fill it out however you want. And like I said at the beginning of the class, you know, this is one of those things you seriously just work on. You could bring your flowers more and more colors. You could add more different, you could add more reds, you could add more leaves. So this could be something that you just work on a little bit now, put it away for a month and take it out again later and work on it, or a week or whatever. Every time I look at this painting, I see more that I want to do to it. So I hope that that's what it is for you. So there you guys have it. I think that's all that there really is to it. Don't forget, if you do the Bible verse, you might want to put John 10:10 down. I put mine on a leaf. So you didn't have any room under the full, but you know, you could fit it down in there if you wanted to. Whatever you want to do. Another thing that people do is just write their initial in the middle. Like if your last name, like for me, starts with an L, you could just do a nice big L in the center, and that could be a really easy option if you feel like you can't write the words well. The last thing that I'm going to tell you too is I am more than happy to write these words for you. If you want to bring your painting by the shop when you drop off your paintbrushes, then I can sit down and if I'm here, make sure I'm here first, then I can write it out for you. And I'm more than happy to do that. It won't take more than a few minutes. If you want to send me a message and just ask me when I'm going to be here, I'm typically here on Fridays and Saturdays, Friday afternoons and Saturdays. Or you can just leave your painting here and drop it off with my husband. I will do the writing for you, and then you can come pick it up whenever you can again. Okay, so I'm more than happy to do that for you as well. So just don't forget that trick about black paint. Use that as an eraser, okay? And good luck, you guys. I've really enjoyed meeting with you tonight. I absolutely love MOPS. I miss being a part of it, so I was really grateful that you guys decided to do this with me tonight. If you have any questions too, by all means, just send me a message. You can send me a message through Facebook Messenger. Lacey has my phone number. It doesn't matter what time of night, I don't care. Some of you might be like breastfeeding your babies and then you decide to paint in the middle of the night because you can't sleep. Just send me a message, okay? I'm more than happy to answer those questions for you and just help you through this, okay? All right, moms. I hope you guys had fun. I hope that you made something that you love. I hope you're proud. So I really enjoyed hearing you in the background. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. It'll take a little while to convert, but as soon as I have the meeting converted, I will send it. I'll send it to you, Lacey, and then you can just. All right, you guys. Have a good night. Thank you again. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
You want to say here? I don't know if the video will break. There you go, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, have fun. Good night, you guys.
Good night.
Yeah. Oh, we'll repeat the time.
Kind of like FaceTime. Yeah.
Remember we FaceTime with
Okay.
Cal and Tessa?
Tell her thank you. Yes.
And Delano.
Bye, April. Thank you very much.
Just stay on.
Okay, we're gonna go
Just,
back.
just